With me now is Charles Woods, the father of former Navy SEAL Ty Woods, who was killed in the Benghazi attack. Ty's siblings, Hope, Faith, and Jeremiah, join us this evening. First of all, let me say on behalf of so many Americans, you have our condolences, our thoughts and prayers, especially as this story unfolds, are with you. And Charles, let me start with you. I mean, just tell us about Ty.
Ty was a remarkable young man. He grew up to be a Navy SEAL. He was raised before kindergarten on a 9,000-acre ranch in Long Creek, Oregon, and he'd be gone most of the day with his .22. That was what honed his skills as a marksman. He'd go to the county fair and he'd clean up with the shooting booths. He was one of the best wrestlers in the state of Oregon, and
you call him the Alpha SEAL.
He was the Alpha SEAL. From what I was told by other SEALs, he was at a position that every other SEAL wanted to achieve. From an early age, he knew that he could protect lesser people than himself.
Let me ask you this, Charles. When you first heard that Ty had been killed, and it was such a sad day when your son's body was brought back, you spoke to the president.
Yes.
And Hillary Clinton and the rest of them. Tell us what they told you.
Okay, first of all, the president was gracious enough to come and speak with each one of his families. At Andrews Air Force Base, there was a large room, and there were 4 pods, couches, and whatever, for each of the 4 family groups to be at. Finally, well, first of all, the vice president came in and mingled in the room. They were there for over a half hour. And
what did they say?
Well,
what did the president say to you?
Okay, what the president said to me, he was the last one to come, and he came and he came up to me and in not a very sincere voice said, "I'm sorry." Now, and then we shook hands, gave him, like that. And then what I said to him was, Mr. President, I appreciate your service. And I said, I am at peace. And I could tell that he was not at peace. And I said, my heart grieves because I've lost my son. My emotions have gone up and they've gone down. But the reason that I am at peace is because I know that God is in control of every situation. That's why our family is handling this much better than you would expect.
And Ty, you spoke with, Charles, you spoke with Hillary Clinton. What did she tell you?
Okay, she came up to us and shook hands with her. I think she just wanted to shake hands. I kind of gave her a little bit of warmth, a little bit of hug. And she said, we are going to arrest the person that made that film, and we're going to have them prosecuted.
And what were your thoughts when she said that?
Well, I didn't think it was any big deal because I just thought this is the way politicians talk. I mean, I knew that she was lying, and she's smarter than I am, so she would have to know that she wasn't telling the truth either. I just thought
so you say the president was insincere and she was lying. But why now? Why are you coming out now to talk about this?
Okay, our family had made the decision not to make public statements. This last week, after I dropped my daughters off at high school in Kona, I just, at random, happened to be listening to a news station. And they mentioned that the president had live feed that he watched my son being killed, that he watched this whole battle that lasted 7 hours, and he chose to do nothing. Now, when I went back there to Washington, D.C., I knew that something was fishy. It just didn't make sense that you'd have a long, drawn-out battle and that no help would have been sent.
Why do you think no help was sent? You know that your son, Ty, was on the ground asking for backup, pleading for an AC-130. I mean, how does that make you feel?
Well, I can't say what their motivations are, and I'm not going to speculate on that. But I do know that the Navy SEALs are extremely honorable, and they have a code of ethics, a code of honor. And part of that code of honor is they will never leave anyone behind, okay? This is why Ty went in initially as a medic. He spent 2 years on ambulance service in San Diego, not even dressed as a Navy SEAL, so that he could acquire the skills of an emergency room doctor, so that they would never leave anyone behind. I couldn't understand, why did they allow them to die? Why didn't they send help? I don't know anything about tactical weapons or anything like that, but I do know that they could have sent something, and I've been told it would have been a C-130, that within 45 minutes could have secured the
from Sigonella, Italy, right across the Mediterranean,
wherever,
within an hour.
Wherever, and secured the perimeters, and not only protected the lives of those 30 people, but also the lives of the individuals that were also heroes besides my son, who sacrificed their lives. This was not necessary. I knew this could have happened, and my question in Washington, D.C. was, why didn't this happen? When it came out this last week that whoever it was, I'm not going to say who it was, but whoever it was in the White House was watching this live feed of my son being murdered, then I decided it's time to do two things. One is, this is not political, okay? If this becomes political, that would dishonor my son's life and his death. But what we want to do is we want to honor my son, and we also want there to be truth and justice, as well as forgiveness.
You feel that your son risked his life and that your son was murdered. You've made some strong statements.
Okay, Your Honor.
If you could say, go ahead.
You're
a former Your Honor also.
Well, no, not really an honor.
Judge.
Administrative law judge. That's a much lower level than how you served. However, as an attorney, the legal definition of murder would not fit into this.
You think it was malfeasance, negligence?
Let's put it this way. My feeling is that it, in fact, was murder.
And if you could say something to the president, what would you say?
I would say, if it was you, Your Honor, I totally forgive you. But for your benefit, I would want you to turn your life around and head the other direction, so that blessings can continue to flow into your life. I want the best for you, and that means you need to stand up, admit your fault, and then change the direction of your life. I love this country of ours.
All right. Jeremiah, very quickly, you going to follow in your brother's footsteps?
Just after getting news of that, I really made some decisions that seeing what he did and how honoring it was to the country and how brave his sacrifice was, I made I talked with my family about potentially doing some military stuff, and actually later on that day after telling them about that, I got an email from my school talking about potentially doing some medical stuff through the Navy. So it's an avenue that I want to pursue.
I'm sure your brother would be proud. Charles Woods and the family, siblings, thank you so much for being with us this evening.
Thank you.
Oh, you're very kind. And I'm so sorry. And at the end of the show, we're going to have a tribute to your son.
Thank you.
And your
Thank you very
brother.
much.